I would like to thank Eda Elif, the Turkish government, and the sponsors for inviting us to this magnificent EthnoKino 2025 festival held in Cappadocia. My talk will be about the relevance and impact of the film festival as technologies. And I will do some from the perspective of media ecology. I will start by explaining who Marshall McLuhan was, the creator of this academic perspective. Then I will tell you what media ecology is and what is affirmed by this field of research. Finally, I will reflect on why it is important to value film festival like EthnoKino as technologies. First, who was Marshall McLuhan? Herbert Marshall McLuhan was a Canadian philosopher and media theorist, best known for his profound insights into communication and the impact of media in society. McLuhan was born in 1911 and died in 1980. He was always a great observer of society and its changes. McLuhan's methods of observation and criticism consisted of paying attention to our ways of communicating, as well as the technologies we use in our daily lives, always focusing on the practical effects or consequence of using technologies rather than the content or message. During his lifetime, McLuhan was a great speaker and lecturer and published many books and essays. In the 60s and the 70s, McLuhan ideas and figure were in vogue due to his appearance in multiple media outlets. Marshall McLuhan loved literature and philosophy and was always an avid reader of philosophers, poets, and intellectuals such as Saint Augustine, Francis Bacon, Vico, Shakespeare, Milton, Mallarmé, Joyce, Eliot, Pound, Chesterton, and others. McLuhan was the creator in the 60s of the expression, "The medium is the message," and the global village. Have you ever heard them? I think so, because many people use them constantly, even without realizing it. For McLuhan, human beings live in two distinct types of environments. One is the natural environment, which is made up of things like the air, trees, rivers, and caterpillars. And the other is the media environment, which is made up of language, numbers, image, holograms, and all the other symbols, techniques, and mechanisms that make us who we are. The crucial question McLuhan always asked himself was, how does the form of any communication medium affect our social relationships, political ideas, or physical habits, and of course, as he always emphasized, our perception? McLuhan pointed out in his work that every technology or means of communication invented by human is an extension of our sense. For McLuhan, every technology, whether communication or not, is always a medium, in the sense that it is something that, when invented, places itself between our body and the world, something that mediates or filters reality for us, something that helps humans live and relate to each other and to the world. McLuhan identified that when a technology or medium bursts into society, it has the effect of modifying, without us realizing it, our cognition and perception of the world. And at the same time, that technologies and media train our perception. They have the particularity of generating new media environments with their presence and producing new ways of living, interacting, and communication with their use. It is important to clarify that for McLuhan, a medium is a technology within which a culture grows. For McLuhan, technologies and media evolve by mixing with each other, and a new medium never completely eliminates the previous one, but rather they merge and complement each other. For McLuhan, the media can be classified in different ways. In terms of their impact on society and how they transformed it, in McLuhan's opinion, the most relevant things about technologies and media is not the content or information they propagate, but is the structure of the media themselves. McLuhan argued that all technologies or media, whether we like it or not, simultaneously generate positive and negative effects. From the late 60s to the present day, McLuhan, along with several of disciples, founded and later developed, both in Toronto and New York City, the academic field of study that is now known or identified internationally as media ecology. Due to this metaphor's field writing style and the controversies McLuhan generated, unfortunately, Marshall McLuhan's work is no longer read seriously or studied in depth in many universities today. However, in the information society and the era of digital media, the ideas generated within the field of media ecology are more important than ever today. What is not media ecology? To avoid confusion, the first thing worth recognizing is what media ecology is not. Media ecology is not an homogeneous or easily defined scientific theory. Over the years, it has later transformed into an intellectual tradition, open, overflowing, and flexible. Media ecology is not today an academic school related only to a university institution or researcher center. Media ecology is not a specific philosophy about technology or the media, since the mode of those who put its hypotheses into practice makes science out of them. Media ecology, despite having been accused of implying technological determinism, does not defend an essentially mechanistic, causalistic, or static vision of society, culture, technology, or the media. Media ecology, because it maintains a clear interdisciplinary and humanistic vocation, should not be reduced to being just a branch, subdiscipline, or subsidiary specialty of communication science or other specific fields of study. Media ecology also is a perspective characterized by its relational way of exploring and discovering ideas, as well as by defending a non-conventional and non-sequential way of thinking that is distinguished by being critical, holistic, gestalt, and counterintuitive. Media ecology, by emphasizing unbiased understanding, is ultimately not as intellectual tradition with a normative stance on media technologies, which it neither prizes nor condemns, nor is the way of observing from which universities naively attempt to dictate how they should be used, operate, or use the media or technology. So what is media ecology? The first thing to recognize is that the term of media ecology was coined in the 1968 by sociology and cultural critic Neil Postman, who was a disciple and friend of Marshall McLuhan. Media ecology is a very simulated way of studying media environments. It was proposed, as we say, by McLuhan. Media ecology implies a generalist, critical, transversal, and counterintuitive interpretive framework for observing and thinking about the relationship between human beings, technology, and the media. Media ecology always implies a critical stance and an ethical orientation, because what it seeks is for us to have a relationship more balanced and aware of different technologies and media. What media ecology effectively represents is a multidisciplinary field of scientific and humanistic research within which the central element lies in the study of environments, their structure, content, and impact on people and their understanding. Today, the field of media ecology is one where independent intellectuals, with their varied points of view, coexist, and within which a plural, holistic, systemic, relational, historical, evolutionary, materialist, and a structural way of seeing, thinking, and studying any medium or technology continues to develop, always striving to address its form and seeking above all to understand its cognitive and cultural effects. Why can film festival be considered as technologies? It must be taken into account that cinema, in McLuhan's opinion, is the magic carpet of fantasy and a collective art form that delivers a world of undulating forms. For McLuhan, cinema is a medium born from the union of the mechanical technology and electric society, and which emphasizes movement and the change of life. In McLuhan terms, cinema is a hot medium that delivers a great deal of information to its viewers, whose message is relatively easy to understand, although it is a medium that requires us to fix our eyes and maintain absolute concentration during the screening. For McLuhan, cinema offers us the illusion of presenting the world on screen to viewers, whether through fiction or non-fiction, and is a medium that promotes a certain loneliness on a psychological level. For McLuhan, cinema on a perceptual level requires viewers to know how to read image and sound sequentially.
1 minute left.
Is the level of cognition it requires the viewer to read or interpret the story sequentially, interpreting the stories based on the logic of cause and effect. What effects do film festivals like EthnoKino have on the places where they take place, as well as on the people they are for? Aside from tourist promotion, cultural development, and economic benefits from a media perspective, film festivals like EthnoKino are very powerful technologies that, independently of the information communicated by the select films, contribute to a new media environments within the natural setting in which they are held. From a media ecology perspective, film festivals like EthnoKino are relevant because they modify cognition and train the perception of viewers. They are important because like all media, they generate their own culture. They are necessary because they promote the active use of spaces and encourage interaction and dialogue between people. While could be better when it's a festival that promotes the recognition of cultural diversity, the value of spirituality, the preservation of community life, and the search for solution for peace and sustainability. Thank you very much.